Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with a one-shot horror game titled Fear Street Scooby-Doo. We're going to be using the Scream system. This is going to be a tale of what might happen if the gang from Scooby-Doo finds themselves in an actual slasher horror film. So, we'll have to see how this goes. So Scream, for everyone who is not familiar with it, is specifically made to run slasher horror. The goal is to try to survive, obviously, but it's not a very likely goal. So the blurb, the description that they give is, it's your favorite slasher movie come to life. Take on the role of doomed characters and make every mistake in the book. Go off alone. Tell your friends you'll be right back. Investigate that spooky sound. Engage in vices. Do all of the stuff that you'd scream at the characters on screen for doing in real life. Be brave. Be sexy. Be dumb. There will be blood. Your blood. So, I'm very excited to get to this game finally. It's been an idea that's kind of stewing in my mind for several months now, and I'm super duper excited to be getting to it finally. By the way, Happy Halloween for everybody who celebrates. I hope everybody has a safe and fantastic holiday weekend with way too much candy than is healthy for you. So I think that covers about... warning. I do this warning for all of my games, but this one in particular. If strong language and subject matter that is mature bothers you, then do not watch any of my content, particularly this game. This game is going to be very violent and hopefully also very disturbing. So there you go. You've been warned. I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can introduce themselves, tell you where you can find them on the internet, plug anything that they've got going on, etc. And then I think we're going to get started. Damn it, is my microphone doing it again? I have no idea what's causing that to happen. It did it Wednesday, too.
It's real super subtle.
Yeah.
Do you use an audio interface?
I do.
Yeah. While we're doing intros, you might try unplugging the USB and just plugging it back in.
Okay.
M used to have to do that with theirs all the time.
Good call. Okay. So I will go ahead and do that then. Jake, why don't you take us out of the gate?
Ruh-roh. Hey everybody, I'm Jake from MiniTerrainDomain, and that's where you can find me when I'm not over here. It's been a while since I've played in a Jeremy game, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having, I would say, the pants scared off of me, but my character is not wearing any pants because I'm Scooby. Whether or not I'm wearing pants can be up for debate, but we'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Next up, we have Baron.
We were just talking about your inability to know how to mute.
I don't want to talk about that right now because I'm Baron. I play D&D online all the time, and so I know how to do these things impeccably and without flaw. You can find me here on the Erasmus Expeditions probably most frequently, as I'm so busy. I am playing Shaggy this evening, which I didn't really have much of a choice in that. But I'm like totally here for it, dude.
I can't wait. There may be some typecasting, maybe. But we're not saying anything. Next up is Kaeryn.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kaeryn. I'm also Myth and Gears on the socials and everything. But really, if you want to find me, this is the place to do so here. And Dice and Ice, that's pretty much where I make my appearances right now. Tonight, I get to play Velma. And probably die horribly. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
One can hope, you know. It's good to have aspirations. Anybody who has a channel that mentions it, you should be able to find it in the description of this video down below. Please do take the time to go check out their stuff. Subscribe, like, show love, leave comments, all that kind of stuff. These are all fantastic people. I can vouch for most of them, at least. All right, next up. This is one of the ones I'm not sure if I can vouch for. Steve.
That makes sense. That yeah, second person has told me that today. Thanks, Mom.
Now I feel bad. Oh my god.
No, just kidding. So yeah, I'm Steve. And most of the time you can find me also here with these other two people who also said they're here a lot. For the banners game that we just got to section 1 of after 3 years. So yay for that. And I'll be playing Fred, and I'm wondering, is it appropriate that Fred has like those guides for traps? I'm thinking that in this particular thing they should be called the Traponomicon. I'm just thinking that would be the appropriate.
That's perfect with me.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Last and certainly not least, Sara.
Okay, I am Sara, Jeremy's younger and much better looking sister. I don't game. This is my first online game, so let's do it.
Slanderous lies as usual, but it's fine. I mean, I'm related to you, so I can forgive it, at least this time. Okay, cool. So unless there are any questions, I think we can go ahead and get started. Daphne dies first. Okay. Let's see here. It was one of the harshest winters Ohio had seen in over 100 years. The northerlies had blown down across Lake Erie and frozen the entire shoreline. Even in Coolsville, where Mystery Incorporated was based, it was looking like there would be a white Christmas. But that was hardly the strangest news that the gang was dealing with. 2 days ago, after the latest snowstorm, a mysterious cargo ship bearing Russian markings, named the Plot Losa, appeared not far off the shore. Odd enough that a Russian freighter ended up in the middle of Lake Erie, but stranger still was what happened next. The Coast Guard sent out a helicopter to investigate, but it never returned. Yesterday, one of the guardsmen that was sent returned on foot, stammering incoherently in Russian, a language that, according to his records, he did not speak. His shock and hysteria were so bad that he had to be sedated. A few words were translated, however, and they were vine people and the monster that grows. And that was when they contacted Mystery Incorporated. Now, here you were, pulling up alongside the Plot Losa in a snowcat. The hull and exterior ladder were coated in ice and snow, and the massive steel ship groaned in her protest as you begin to climb on board. So, we now join the 5 of you as you're making your way up the exterior of this massive Russian freighter out in the middle of Lake Erie. Take it away.
Scoob is on deck, and the only sound you hear is that chattering sound as he's huddling himself, and his teeth are clattering together. This sort of chattering sound.
I'm going to say to Fred, I think things look suspicious down below. We should go check it out.
Come on, Daphne, chill out. And he kind of like looks around at Shaggy and Velma.
Oh, Fred, this is just not the time for that.
It's too cold.
Something's not right here.
Well, of course not. I forgot my jacket.
Well, that's all right, Shaggy. You can have one of mine. And Fred peels off an outer, bright orange outer layer jacket, and underneath is another bright orange, like puffy jacket. And he just hands one over to Shaggy. Well,
Thanks, Fred.
you know what the saying is: nothing like a good mystery to keep you warm. And he'll start walking up and knocking on these big metal walls, like he's looking for secret passages.
All right. Each one of you, as you're making your way up the ladder onto the deck of the ship, we're going to go ahead and get our first round of rolls. So I think this is probably going to be a sports roll. So you're going to roll 2d10 and then add whatever you have in your sports. What are these called? Attributes? Skills. Whatever you have in your sports skill, and then give me the total. 15. Okay, Fred's good. Shaggy's fantastic. Excellent.
Can you believe I just rolled like double 10s?
Whoa.
When does
Almost
that
like
happen?
Yeah, I rolled an
one-handing
18.
each rung. Like, it's just...
Yeah. So I got a 19.
Okay, yep. All right, Scoob. All right. And what'd you get, Sarah? You're muted.
9.
There you go. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. For Daphne and Scooby. Okay. So it is fairly dark out here. And as you have kind of topped this ladder and are kind of making your way onto the deck, for a brief moment, you see in the light of one of the devices of the ship, you can make out a strange figure standing in the rays of light. Something's odd about it, but it seems to stand there kind of watching you for a moment.
It could be a statue. Doesn't seem to be moving.
Ghost!
Oh, Scooby, calm down.
Run, Scoob!
Let's go check it out. I'm gonna head up
Okay.
to take a look at it.
Sure. So I think...
Whoa. Wait up, Daph! Come on, gang!
So under Hope, investigating disturbances is one of the ways that you can earn that. So I think, Daph, we're going to go ahead and have you take your first point of Hope. You can spend that later on, according to the list that's kind of at the bottom of the sheet there, to help out rolls and avoid danger and things like that later on. Okay, so it sounds like Daphne and Fred, at least, are making their way up to where you saw this creature. And the other three of you, what's your plan?
Oh, I was totally running. I ran. I'm
So
out of there.
I think Velma, what she did is reached out and grabbed Shaggy's collar in the back. So his feet is just going and he's not moving.
Do you have both of us by the collar?
Once again, that noise.
Ruh-roh, Reggie.
Looks like we're caught, Scoob.
Oh, calm down, you guys. Why don't we check out down here? Well, they're up
Anywhere
there.
but up there.
All right. So, are you guys splitting up then? Is Velma taking Scoob and Shaggy like down, and Velma and Daphne and Fred are going up? Velma is taking Shaggy and Scoob down.
Yeah. As you do.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Okay.
Maybe there's some food down here.
Yeah.
You never know. They might have had a whole shipload of Scooby snacks somewhere down there.
Lobsters and oysters and crab. Actually, I think Shaggy's vegan now. Man.
Scooby snacks are still vegan.
Made from real vegans.
Hold on.
All right. I can't think of.
As soon as Velma
Shaggy.
mentions something about a kitchen, or Shaggy or whoever said kitchen, I'm going full dog mode, nose to the floorboards.
Okay, so as Daphne and Fred make their way up towards where they saw this creature, Scoob, go ahead and give me a roll. Let's see what that would be. A read. Checking out the situation, investigating, understanding someone's intentions. Let's get a read roll.
Another 10.
Okay. So it's as you are kind of sniffing around, Scoob, you're kind of nose to the ground, making your way deeper into this ship, when all of a sudden, kind of echoing throughout the steel hull of the ship,
Raggy!
Like, what was that?
Who's there?
there's no answer.
I don't know if we should keep going this way.
It might be Daphne or Fred. They might be in trouble. We should go check that. Find out where that came from.
But it could also not be Daphne or Fred.
Well, there's just one way to find out.
But there's a lot of ways to not find out.
Oh, Shaggy.
Did we go
No.
down, or did we go just into one of the doors, or?
Yeah, I imagine there was probably a door on deck that you kind of went into and it immediately went down a staircase. So you're essentially kind of one deck down right now. So while Shaggy, Scooby, and Velma kind of figure out what they're going to do next, we kind of jump back over to where Daphne and Fred are now making their way kind of through a different building that was on deck and now ascending a staircase upwards to where they find this platform that they saw this individual standing on, this light kind of shining into the falling snow that's kind of here on the top of the deck. But there's no sign of whoever or whatever was standing there just moments before.
It's gone. How did that happen?
Oh, maybe it's one of those invisible disappearing Eskimo monsters. I read about that in last month's journal.
It could be, but it seemed like a statue. Maybe there's a secret door.
Oh no, the statue man from Planet 9. Ah! There's only one thing we can do. And Fred starts like doing the robot, like moving reels like mechanically. Come on, Daph, this way we'll
Fred?
blend
Yeah,
in.
Oh, I see. They won't know we're not statues.
He just taps his head. Unless they can read our minds.
I don't think there's much to read.
Quick, ask me what I'm thinking.
What are you thinking, Fred?
Ha! Nothing. My mind is completely void.
Great job.
And I'll start like mechanically moving like around up here looking for clues.
Yeah, I'm also gonna start looking around the floor, top deck.
Excellent. Okay, both of you, if you would please, give me read rolls.
Ten.
Okay. Both of you are moving forward and you spot something kind of dark on part of the deck. It's almost puddle shaped. And as you kind of approach and get closer, both of you kind of step and there's this noise and the floor, which was rusted underneath, buckles and both of you fall through the floor. So you're both going to take 2 wounds.
Can I attempt to fall first to break Daphne's fall and that sort of like get piled on aspect, and I'll take an additional wound in place of her?
There's something about that. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, so
Absolutely.
yeah, I kind of like belly flop down there, and then a moment later is that sort of like second like thump, and Fred just like ugh, ugh.
Fred, are you okay? Jeepers.
Just hold up a thumbs up. I'm good.
That floorboard came right from out from under us. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I'm trying to like get up with her still, I imagine, sitting on me from the fall.
Yeah, I'm fine to just get up and walk off, and you're probably incapacitated.
Man, sure don't build them like they used to.
What do we see down here? I want to look around.
So down here, you can see what looks like carnage. This looks like it was probably some kind of storage room, and the contents of the room are strewn about everywhere. There's smashed crates. There's shelving units that like look like they were bolted in place that are like toppled over. There's things that are just covering the floor, things that are spattered on the wall, but you don't see any kind of blood or bodies or anything of that nature at all.
Do we see food?
Yeah, I think so. Naturally, there's probably a crate of Scooby snacks that is like smashed open, and there's, they're scattered everywhere. It's whatever the Russian, like writing version of Coptic. I think it's called Coptic. Written version of Scooby snack.
I'll grab 2 packages of those. Better have these on hand for Scooby and Shaggy.
Good thinking, Daph.
Let's keep looking around, see what we can find.
Excellent. Hard wipe to the other three, kind of moving the other direction, with their flashlights out kind of thing. All right, so the three of you are kind of making your way through the belly of this ship, and you've found your way closer to the kitchen. It looks like, a standard kind of galley that you would find on a cargo ship. It's, very narrow, but there's a lot of industrial looking equipment in here. It looks like there's been a fire in here. There's a lot of like scorching around the stove and oven area. But again, you see no carnage, no blood or bodies, anything like that. It's just damage.
I'm looking for a refrigerator or walk-in cooler.
Definitely a walk-in cooler.
And we'll open it up, immediately looking for food.
Yeah, you actually don't even have to open it. As you get closer, you realize the door is actually slightly open, and the fluorescent lighting from inside is like blinking.
They need a rainbow.
We could check the storage closet when we go back.
Is there food and stuff in here?
Yeah, so opening it up, because it's open, it's looks like a lot of it had at some point kind of spoiled and then refrozen. So there's like a carton of ice cream that's like on its side and it's frozen into the puddle that it had made on the floor. But there are certainly other things in here that are still in their containers.
Yeah, I'll just start gathering anything a handful of things that look like delicious foods, especially if there's any long strings of sausages or a ham hock, anything like that, that I will have bundled in my arms and immediately come out and head give Shaggy a knowing look as I head over to a counter.
There's like just the ample supplies for a like quintuple decker sandwich that I am like about to ingest in one bite as you're walking by.
And while they're searching for food and making sandwiches, Velma is looking for the source of what the fire, where it could have started down in here.
Perfect. All right, Velma, go ahead and give me a read roll, if you would.
That will be an 11.
11. Okay. So you've got your magnifying glass out or something, and you're like inspecting, where this fire could have originated. And eventually you kind of pinpoint that it's likely the gas mains that kind of feed into the stove and the oven. The pipes seem like they've been basically sheared through force. They're just kind of like a break in them. And it looks like it must have, burned until it basically ran out of gas. But as you're inspecting this, you can hear Shaggy and Scooby, munching down on the food they have found. But there's a different sound that kind of seems, you're not sure if it's really them or not. You hear this.
So kind of shaking off that sound, because it's probably Shaggy's stomach growling, because I know it's often really loud. And then seeing these pipes, well, it's obvious that this thing crashed and the pipe sheared when they hit something and stopped, and that was the cause of the explosion in here. Luckily, there was nobody around, because otherwise we would probably have found bodies. So, well, that is good news. Let's
Well,
continue.
the expiration date's what's going to be responsible for the explosion in here. I like point to my belly.
Oh no. I knew that a strange sound was from you.
Whoa.
And before he explodes, Velma is going to make sure she is heading out of the room.
All right. So you head out of the room, and I think there's probably a moment where, like, Velma heads out of the room, and Fred and Daphne like round a corner and like, slam into each other. The three of you kind of like end up in a pile.
Again, like Fred on the bottom for whatever reason. Just, let's unsplit up, gang.
Fred, you're not looking so well. Let me fix you. And she's going to reach up to, kind of adjust his ascot and maybe a couple of his jackets. And I'd like to do mend on him.
Perfect. Okay. I love the fact that all of the damage that Fred has taken was to his ascot, and that's that's what's really hurt him.
Safe to say, so far I've gotten my ass got kicked.
Ooh.
Fred's gonna die from a wardrobe malfunction.
Okay, so for mend, so it's still a roll, and then if you succeed, he gets to remove a wound.
Okay, here's hoping. Oh, that's a nice roll. So 15.
Yep, okay, that's a success. So you get to erase one of your wounds, Fred. You three kind of out in the hallway now, as you're kind of trying to disentangle from one another. You can hear a similar kind of strange noise in somewhere else in the ship. This kind of
Oh no, did they already find the snacks?
Yes, and of course, expiration dates they didn't check, and Shaggy is not feeling so good right now. The venting in here makes the acoustics quite weird. Sounds coming from everywhere.
It is. And we fell through the floor trying to find out what that strange figure was on top.
Did you find out?
No, it's gone. But we found lots of boxes. It was a mess.
So far, we have the statue people from Planet 9 and the invisible disappearing Eskimo monsters as options.
Scoob breaks out in from the kitchen, pressed up against the wall next to the door, and says, "It's a real mess in rear-view. Ruh-roh, Raggy." Sorry for making you the butt of the joke, Baron. But I'm not sorry for that part.
That was a real gas. Well, gang, looks like we got a real mystery on our hands.
We got to find out where this noise is coming from. Could it be the ship that's just shifting and creaking?
I put my ear to the wall.
There's definitely a lot of like groaning and popping noises from the ship as it expands and contracts in the icy weather, and the wind outside is blowing pretty hard. So there's parts of the ship where you hear that kind of whistling through.
Yes, the sounds of the probably just the creaking of the ship and the with the heat dissipation from the metal contracting and causing everything to shrink and expand and shrink. I don't think there's anything here.
Have you seen a sign of anybody on board? Anything to show that there were people in these rooms? I think we should keep walking. Maybe the bed quarters will have something.
We did hear that spooky wail down that way.
Don't be silly, Shaggy. Whales live in the water, not in boats. Right then. And Fred will produce a flashlight from who knows where? It's under the ascot. And click it on and all right, gang, let's get to it. And I just start shining it down the path as I walk.
Okay. Everybody going with?
Yes.
Only
I'll
if as we
follow.
walk down the hallway, the same door keeps going by.
Of course.
Yes.
Yep. Reused animation. Yep,
We stop at
absolutely.
the one that's slightly discolored because we know it's the one that's going to move.
Excellent. Okay, you are wandering down this corridor, kind of making your way deeper into this freighter, and you all see something kind of at the end of a dark corridor. Kind of it leads down and then tees at the end. You don't know if it's the same thing or person that you might have seen earlier, but it's only there for the briefest of moments before it looks your direction and then continues moving on quickly. And as it goes, there's this kind of almost like a wet, like slopping noise.
Zoinks! What is that?
Whatever it is, I think he's got some answers.
Good thinking, Daphne. After him. And I just start running down. Sir, Captain, Squidman from Neptune.
As Fred takes off running, is anybody following? Yeah, Daphne is. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Velma as well.
I think Shaggy is going to run the other way.
That's fair. Scoob?
Yeah. Well, if Shaggy's running the other way, Scooby's going too.
All right.
Let's get out of here, Scoob!
Right behind you!
Shaggy and Scooby take off the other direction, and Fred, Velma, and Daphne head off chasing after this figure that you saw at the end of the corridor. The corridors are dark. There's like only emergency lighting in certain parts, and it's very spaced. It looks like even some of the frequent spacing of this emergency lighting has been damaged. Some of these bulbs have been smashed. There's damage all through the ships. The pipes and things are busted in several areas. Something has definitely transpired in these corridors and things that you're making your way through. So all of you giving chase after this creature through these darkened corridors, if you would please give me a sports roll.
I don't see explore. What do I add it to?
So just sports. So you're gonna roll 2d10 and then
Sports.
add
Oh,
your
19.
add your sports.
19.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. 20. Good grief. Okay. Fred and Daphne are easily navigating this point through this corridor. Velma, at some point, I think your glasses come off. You slip on something and your glasses come off, and in your search for trying to look for them,
My glasses, my glasses.
you cut your arm on an exposed piece of pipe that is jutting out from the wall. You're going to take 2 wounds.
Jinkies.
All right, just a couple of steps behind Daphne and Fred as you find your glasses. Daphne and Fred, you're just a little ways ahead of Velma. Reach the end of this corridor and round where you saw this figure go, and there's nothing there. It ends in a door that has been shut and has one of those kind of turning wheels, like a bulkhead kind of wheel in the center. And you definitely didn't hear anything like that shut. But this is the direction the thing went.
Are there any vents in the room that I can
Definitely.
look at? Okay.
Absolutely.
I think this thing might be going around the ship through something other than doors and corridors. I think it's hiding. I'm going to go and investigate the closest vent to me.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a read roll, if you would.
14.
Okay, excellent. So you're inspecting the inside of this vent, kind of, you got your flashlight kind of shining into this vent. And at first, all you kind of see is that reflective, almost like aluminum, ductwork. But towards the back, where it kind of seems to bend, you think you see something. And as you're kind of getting your light on it, you see this. It almost looks like an octopus tentacle, but it's made out of meat, and it just disappears around the corner.
Jeepers! I think I found it.
So Fred will look over to this vent also. Is it one of the mist men from Minnesota?
It's a strange octopus or something. I don't know. It was a long tentacle.
What do you think, Velma?
I think at that point, Velma's just
Velma.
finally catching up. She's putting her glasses on her face and cleaning them.
I really wish I had a dog to climb through this vent.
Oh, don't worry, Daphne. You'll fit.
Oh, oh, Fred, you're so funny. I suppose I'll start climbing through the vent.
Okay.
Is this like
So
an up vent or like a floor vent?
I think it's a floor vent.
Okay.
Yeah. So you kind of, remove the grate or whatever that's on this vent, and you're able to kind of lower yourself down in here and kind of get down on all fours and begin to crawl your way through. Yeah, go ahead and give me another sports roll, Daphne.
$13.
Okay. Not a problem at all. You make your way through this vent. Is it just Daphne, or is anybody going with her?
So Fred cheerfully looks to Velma and puts his hands on his hips. Well, who's next?
Right. fine. And so Velma would just kind of disgustedly go in after Daphne.
Okay. And as Velma, ducks down, likewise, kind of crawling through, go ahead and give me a sports roll.
Yeah, that would be a 9.
Okay. Let's see here. So, Daphne, you're down there. You're moving around through this corridor, and all of a sudden, everything goes... The lights go completely out. All of the emergency lights, everything, it becomes pitch black in here. And instantly, all of you hear this kind of like something moving against the metal of the ship rapidly.
Fred, where's that flashlight?
I'm not sure it'll do any good. The power's out.
Oh,
And I'll pull it out, bang on it a few times, and flash it right in my eyes. Here, I'll drop it down.
Is the intention to go in after them, Fred?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go in after him, and then after a moment, you'll hear, "Oh yeah!" And I turn around as best I can, and I grab the grate and I pull it closed.
Perfect.
Don't want him coming up behind us.
Go ahead and roll a sports roll for Fred as well, please. Ooh, okay. Fred, you've crawled down in here, and you're, making your way forward with the flashlight. You've kind of replaced this grate, and as you're kind of ducking down and making your way away from it, you hear this noise, and you look back, and that grate is bent downward, and it's stuck in place.
So I'll put my shoulder into it. Ugh. Well, on the bright side, always be moving forward, because we can't go backwards.
well, let's see what's in front of us.
As the three of them, we could cut to that cutaway, where everything else is black and dark, and just the little, crawl space that they're in is kind of lit and animated. The three of them make their way off screen. We cut over to where Scoob and Shaggy made their hasty escape. How long did the two of you run before you stopped?
Too long.
We probably ran past the same door several times. Both stopped to go, and then immediately ran again. Probably did that 2 or 3 times.
I would say we ventured right into the far end of the boat we had not investigated at all.
So when you have finally stopped running and you're looking around with your flashlight, you can see a strange looking, heavy vault door. Again, a lot of the markings on the equipment and power boxes and things that seem to come into this room are all in Russian. This door is wide open, and there's these almost like a dryer hose that are kind of run along the bottom floor of this doorway and kind of trail off into another room. You can see beyond the doorway that there's another one of these doors and a lot of rubble and things that is strewn all over the floor.
Well, that door looks like it's the same color as a Scooby Snacks box. Ruby Snacks!
It would make sense to transport such valuable cargo behind doors like this.
Well, that's all the assurance Scooby needs. I'm heading in looking for the Scooby snacks.
Excellent. All right, so you make your way into the next room, and you can see that one of the lights in here, as you kind of step through, begins to like blink and flicker in this kind of reddish color that illuminates the back half of the room, where you can see this secondary door. It's still closed, and it may or may not be locked. There's rubble and paper and things just all over the place. But the interesting thing is the massive hole that like bores straight through the insulation and the steel that forms the wall beside this door. Both of you, if you would please roll read checks. Okay.
I got a 6.
6. Okay. Both of you kind of at the just outside of the opening of this hole, this crater beside the door, you see a stacked mountain of Scooby snacks.
Jackpot!
Jumping in like I'm like a cannonball into the water.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Right behind.
Backstroke through the.
I pop my head up and just spit out a whole line of Scooby snacks like it's a stream of water.
As the two of you are rejoicing in the hoard that you have found, we as an audience see a shadow creeping between that light and the two of you, almost kind of moving along the ceiling and the walls. More of these kind of strange meat tentacles. Both of you, please roll attack.
$13.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I got a 13. I forgot to add my +1.
Good. Okay. Both of you feel something kind of wrap around your various limbs, your arms, legs, paws, and kind of start to grab a hold and begin to slowly kind of drag you towards that opening.
Maybe we should have looked at the expiration date on those sausages, Scoob.
I think Scoob is just starting to try to talk as one of those meat tentacles is kind of wrapping around his throat and is just doing the yeah.
I'm gonna try and eat it.
Okay. Make another attack. Let's see how this goes.
Not as well. A 12.
Oh, okay. You bite down on this thing, and you get a mouthful of whatever this is. It's definitely kind of like biting into raw meat. But as you bite into it and kind of take this chunk out, you see the edges of like the fiber of the meaty part around this bite begin to like grow and like grab a hold of the sides of your face and your mouth and your nose as if they're trying to like almost graft onto you. You're going to take 2 wounds.
Ruh-roh, Reggie! I'm going to try to bite this thing and yank it off of Shaggy's face.
Okay. Another attack roll.
Well, it's a 9 on 1. That's 12 plus 1, 13.
Okay. You manage to grab a hold of this tentacle, bite through it, and spit, kind of turn, kind of fling it aside. And the part that was holding on to Shaggy's face, like, lets go and drops to the ground and, like, inchworms its way back towards that hole in the wall as the meat tentacles kind of...
I'm going to scoop Shaggy up in my arms and GTFO.
All right.
Get the lead out, Scoob.
This is incredible. Okay. The two of you run off screen and we hard wipe again back to where the three of the Velma, Daphne, and Fred group are still crawling through this this vent, finally coming to an exit where you think you can lift the cover and crawl out into a different corridor.
Okay, since I'm at the front, I'm gonna beat against the vent and try to make it open.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead and give me another sports roll, please.
16.
Excellent. Daphne apparently does deadlifts at some point in her spare time. So she just kind of like gets in squat position and just kind of busts up against this grate, and it like slings open, and you find yourself able to kind of crawl back out into yet another corridor somewhere in the bowels of this ship.
Okay. I crawl out of the vent and Velma, Fred, I found my way out. Keep coming.
Velma follows the sound of Daphne's voice and probably misses the edge of where it is and just kind of tumbles out in a pile. Oof. Well, at least we're out.
See, Daph? Dog's got nothing on you.
Well, I don't know what it was, but we still haven't found it yet.
That's right. I think Fred's pulling off a dirty ascot and putting on a clean one. Like tying it up. Wow. Which way now, girls?
I'm going to look around the room and see what you said. We're in a corridor.
Yep.
Are there any other doors off of this one?
There are. The corridor extends kind of both directions away from where you've kind of come up through the floor, and it kind of tees off in both ways. So there are signs on the wall. However, they are in Russian. Mm-hmm. So if anybody wants to take a crack at trying to figure out what it says, I think...
Velma, do you understand any of this?
A read roll, please.
Martian writing.
That would be a 20.
Excellent. Okay. So Velma, of course, speaks Russian, or at least is able to read Russian.
All the studying comes into, use at some point, right? This is why I did this.
Exactly. And you can see that one of them points towards the captain's quarters, essentially, like where the captain would be staying on the ship, and the other points towards the I just lost the word for it, but essentially like the hold, where all the cargo, like the large cargo, would be stored.
Well, this one's
Cargo
saying
bay?
This would lead to the cargo bay, and this one goes up to the captain's quarters.
Well, I think Fred and I might have fallen into the cargo bay earlier. There were boxes everywhere, shelves. It was a mess.
So maybe we should head towards the captain's quarters, find out what's there.
I think so. I think that's a good idea. What do you think, Fred?
I didn't know Velma spoke Martian.
Fred, it's not Martian, it's called Russian. And if you'd paid a little more attention in class, you'd be able to read it too.
Right.
Okay, maybe you wouldn't. But you should have paid more attention in class.
So, to the Kashmanapaka, or how do you pronounce backwards R's?
Velma just shakes her head and starts towards the captain's quarters.
Scooby would probably know. He uses R's all the time.
Do we still have the flashlight?
You do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have any other tools?
I'm going to take the metal grate with me this time.
Ooh.
Okay.
This might
Yeah, give me a sports roll. See if you can kind of like yank it loose.
Sure.
Yeah, to answer your question, Sarah, I think like in some of the iterations of the cartoon, Daphne is kind of like she always has like the right tool for the job just
Right,
on her.
right.
So yeah, I think
she
you probably
doesn't.
have
She has a piece of like makeup equipment that doubles.
right, exactly. It kind of MacGyver's the shit out of it. So I definitely think that you have things like that would be at your disposal.
Okay.
13 on the, so like I imagine like Fred grabs it, puts his foot up on the thing, and he's like, "Don't worry, it'll only take me 1 second." And then it just falls off on its own.
Yeah, it kind of, falls over. There's a little bit of, snow and ice. It kind of shoots out from the sides, but you're able to scoop down and pick it up.
Perfect. What type of ship snows on the inside? I like look at both of them like that's a dead serious question.
I don't know. Something's been wrong on this ship for a long time. I don't know how long this has been here, but the snow must have blown in from a hole or something.
Right. Right. Like how did a Russian ship get in the middle of the lake when Russia's in Europe? I'll just start walking towards the direction was indicated earlier. Did you girls hear that?
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
I was hoping I wouldn't too.
Where did it come from? How does it seem to come from everywhere on the ship?
Russia? Well, we
I
better
say
find
we-
Shaggy and Scooby.
Well, let's keep heading towards the captain's quarters and maybe we'll run into him.
Not too hard though. My ribs still hurt.
The three of you kind of turn the direction indicated as, being the captain's quarters. You start making your way that direction. You come across a bend, kind of leads into a wide corridor that looks like it would probably be used to be able to transfer cargo, kind of like up and down the length of the ship, maybe from one hold to another, something like that. And you all hear this kind of strange noise coming from the other end of the corridor. This
There it is again. We've got to find this thing.
Well, it does sound like we're getting closer.
Right. So first, we find Shaggy and Scooby. Second, we split up and find the monster.
Okay, Fred. You head down that corridor, and I'm going to
Right.
go in this room over here.
Right, Daphne. So I go over here and you. That's not the type of splitting up I had in mind.
just about that time, you hear the sounds of like shoed feet running on the ground on the floor of this corridor. And rounding the corner at the end of this wide corridor is a woman. She is panic-stricken, her eyes wide. There's blood all over her. She begins frantically speaking Russian. Velma, you're barely able to catch the words, "Vine people, help." And then all of you hear this sound that sounds like waves almost. And around the corner of the corridor, this disgusting wave of meat comes splashing around, hitting the walls and sticking almost like sap or honey or tendrils, ivy almost. And it very quickly overcomes the end of this corridor, and the woman, sweeping her up and grabbing a hold of her with these meat tentacles, pulling her backwards into its mass before it begins advancing down the corridor towards the three of you. This woman screams in terror as she is disappearing into the red blob.
I'm gonna start running in the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think Fred mutters something about never visiting Russia. And I'm going to try and scoop Daphne and then Velma each under an arm and just bongo on out of here.
All right. Make me an escape roll, please.
Mm-hmm. How about a 12?
You know, that's really close.
Whoop.
Yep. You scoop both Velma and Daphne up, kind of, under one under each arm, and begin to run. And that's when you realize that your feet are already in this goo. This stuff is already overtaking the place where you were just standing and is starting to creep up your legs and your back. You need to take 2 wounds, please.
All right. In an overly traumatic way, I'm going to try and throw both of the girls ahead, and with that outstretched arm, just go, "Remember me."
That puts you at 4. Is that right? Oh, I'm a big dummy. All right. I made this whole thing. Fred is now at 4 wounds. Who else has wounds? Shaggy, you've
I have
got
one.
2. Okay, so Daphne
Velma's got 2.
has 1. Velma has 2. Shaggy, you have 2. Scooby, you also have 2? Is that right? No, you're good. Okay, excellent.
I don't think I took any wounds.
Okay, cool. All right. I think that has everybody where they need to be. All right. So yeah, Fred, this thing is slowly starting to try to take over your body. Velma, Daphne, you have both been kind of like tossed unceremoniously kind of down the corridor by Fred. Looking backwards, you can see these meat tentacles kind of like writhing and moving their way up Fred's body and starting to kind of encroach on his head.
I'm gonna reach down and I'm from this goo pull out the metal grate and futilely just start beating at it.
All right, make an attack roll. No.
I rolled a 7.
Ooh.
Can I?
Oh, I'm sorry. I rolled a 6 because I have -1 attack.
Can I try to attack it?
You can certainly try.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have a perfume that I'm gonna spray onto it.
Okay. Absolutely. All right, so go ahead and make your attack roll.
12.
Okay. You kind of run up with this perfume and start spraying it, and it apparently like drives this thing into like a frenzy. And it like reaches out and grabs a hold of this perfume bottle and your hands and starts like pulling. So you are gonna take 2 wounds.
Okay.
And you watch in horror as Fred disappears.
Fred's last words, he looks towards Daphne as this stuff's coming over the back of his head and wrapping around to the front of his face. And he goes, "Remember, I always loved you, Mystery Machine."
And Fred disappears with a wet kind of I think
run! And
this
Velma's
is where we're going to
hide
take
first.
our break, actually. All right. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouse, etc., etc. This has been a blast so far. We have our first dead character. So, Steve, the way that this is going to work is now you are part of the horror along with me. Anytime there is a failed roll, now both of us get to take an action with the monster. And you'll find on the back of your sheet, we can choose from either of those 2 first lists now. And we're going to have to see how this goes. I'm so excited. Thank you all so much for tuning in so far. And we will be right back. My camera is closed. My spoon is too big. That's the old days of the internet. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of Fear Street Scooby-Doo. This is a game where we are running the Scream system, and it is, like it says on the tin, it is a slasher horror game featuring everybody's favorite Mystery Incorporated. After discovering a Russian freighter in the middle of Lake Erie during a very cold and harsh winter, Mystery Inc. has come on board and has discovered discovered that there is a strange thing on board. This meat, fleshy wave or tentacles or something between. It has now injured almost all of the members of the gang except for Fred. Fred has been absorbed by this creature. Velma and Daphne barely able to turn and escape. Scooby, Shaggy, the two of you just gorged yourself on Scooby snacks as some of these meat tentacles came out of this hole in the wall and tried to abscond with you, but through fast thinking and even faster biting, the two of you managed to get away from this thing. I think we see the two pairs again, always happening multiple times every episode, running down two different corridors and slam into one another. There's probably even the sound of bowling pins being scattered, and the four of them are laid out at this intersection. No sign of Fred, though.
Shaggy, what happened?
I'm happy to see you guys.
Fred's gone. He's been eaten by that thing.
Hold on, what do you mean gone? He drives the car.
He
Not
was
anymore,
swallowed up.
Shaggy.
Swallowed up by what?
This wave of blood and guts and meat, it swallowed up a woman. She was speaking Russian and it just took her, and then it took Fred.
Fine people is what she called it. But Fred's gone. And she's kind of crying a little bit.
So what are the four of you going to do? Where to next?
Is what happened to the meat wave? Did it just dissipate?
Essentially, you outran it. You managed to, turn enough corners or something, and it does not seem to be continuing to pursue you at the moment.
We need to make a plan. We need to find something and rig up an explosion. Trick it into following us. And then when it's in the right spot, set off the trap and go kaboom.
That's a great idea, Velma.
I wish Fred was here. He was always the one who did these plans.
I don't know what we're going to do without him. I guess I'm going to start looking for explosives, something to light on fire. Maybe
Oh.
go to the cargo ship, the cargo bay.
Good idea, Daphne. You go to the cargo bay. I go back to the kitchen. Maybe there's something left unburnt. Maybe there's some gas canisters.
Yeah.
We'll all meet back here.
Good.
What are we supposed to do?
Roll with Daphne. Fred's dead.
It'd be nice to have somebody with me.
We'll go with you, Daphne.
Come on, you two. Let's look for something other than food.
All right. So as Shaggy, Scooby, and Daphne split off and head to find explosives, and Velma is now going to head off back towards the kitchen to see if she can't find some kind of canisters of gas to contribute to this plan. Velma, at some point you are back in the kitchen, kind of rooting around in this dark galley with whatever light source you might have, flashlight or light on your phone or something. You find what you think might be another canister or two that hasn't been hooked up. It's kind of still just strapped in place beside the other. And it seems like it might still have some gas in it. Just about the time that you're kind of trying to get it unlatched from where it's mounted kind of under this cooktop, you hear something behind you kind of
Who's there? Shaggy? Daphne? Scooby?
you hear that kind of empty, tinny sound that like a pipe makes whenever it's dropped on like metal. That kind of ting, 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 ting.
Shield. Jinkies! And grabs the canister and is going to run. I'm not even looking. I'm going to run.
Make an escape roll for me, please.
Oh, well, I like that. 14.
Excellent. So you managed to grab this canister and escape very quickly. There's even that little like noise and like a small little like cloud of dust or whatever left behind. Okay.
Snow. A snow
Yeah,
cloud.
snow. Exactly. Not dust, snow. Excellent. Where it snows inside the ship. If only Fred had solved that mystery. Okay. We jump back over to where Daphne and Scoob and Shaggy are, making their way back into this cargo container. You find this trail as you kind of approach the doorway that leads into the next cargo area. You find this one after the other. These Scooby snacks have been left kind of sitting in the middle of the corridor, evenly spaced, heading off towards the door and disappearing around the corner.
Oh, Ruby snack.
Wait,
Don't mind if I roll.
this seems a little too convenient. Let me go first. I'm gonna peer around the corner. I have Fred's flashlight.
While Daphne's peering, I'm at the first Scooby snack.
So I'm shining the light in the direction of the trail of Scooby snacks.
So you're kind of looking at this trail of Scooby snacks, kind of following as it trails away, disappears through this bulkhead door, and kind of turns to the right. Move up to that bulkhead and kind of shine your light, into the large space beyond. And you see, it's strange. It looks almost like vines or tree trunks or something, just all over the place in here. This room almost has the look of a forest. And as you kind of look up, you realize that there are people that are suspended, maybe even the source of some of these vines and trunks that are riddled throughout this space.
Jeepers, there's people in here.
I hope they don't want to hear my Scooby snacks. I'm still moving towards following the Scooby snack trail.
Scooby
Don't get
passes
too close, Scooby.
Passes Daphne into the room, completely oblivious of all of this stuff around.
I almost picture Scooby doing the just all of a sudden opens up his mouth, lowers his head, his butt's up in the air, and it's just you hear like a vacuum noise as he just starts going.
As you're making your way down this trail, Scooby, between two Scooby snacks, there's this wad of meat that just drops right in front of you.
Scooby, look behind you.
Did it land in front of or behind me?
In front of you.
I don't know. Scoob's in full-on vacuum mode. And if I'm being true to Scoob, I don't think he's going to notice.
Especially it's meat.
That's fair. All right.
Honestly, I don't see Scooby even paying attention because he's in full-on Scooby snack mode.
Okay, then let's see. Let's go ahead and call it an escape roll.
Oh, wait, that a 0 is a 10. That is a 20 total.
Wow. Okay.
You ever seen those videos of when cats are eating and they turn around and there's a cucumber suddenly there and they leap up in the air? I think that's going to be Scooby's reaction because I have a +2 to escape. So he starts to hoover up this piece of meat and just instantly just shoots straight up into the air and lands in Shaggy's arms.
As you do so, Scooby, you leap away from this thing, this wad of meat that had fallen on the ground, and you watch as these kind of petals, almost something between a petal and a tentacle, open like this, and they continue to curl backwards on themselves until they touch the ground, and then they kind of lift the wad of meat up off of the ground like spider legs, and it begins moving towards all of you.
Ruh-roh, Reggie, that's roughed up.
I think I'm gonna be a vegan now for sure, Scoob.
All right. What's the plan? This thing is crawling towards you.
I'm gonna try and run. I'm really good at one thing. I'm a one-trick pony.
Don't forget, I'm in your arms, cradled like a puppy.
This is fine.
I'm gonna try to throw Scooby snacks at it. Like
Okay.
a whole lot of them. Remember I grabbed
Yeah.
2 containers.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna open one and kind of toss it at the meat thing.
Fair. All right. So let's make an attack roll.
Ew. 8.
8. Okay. So you start throwing Scooby snacks at this thing, and let's see. Okay. This thing very quickly kind of like skitters towards you, and it seems to like almost pause at the Scooby snacks that you're throwing, and then just walks right past it like it's completely uninterested. And as you're paying attention to this really gross, creepy thing, several of these tendril tree-like things in this room begin to just like grow up out of the grating and things that forms the planks and the walkways that you're on here, separating Daphne from Shaggy and Scoob. So with this failed roll, Steve, you also get to take an action for the horror.
All right. Let's see here. No, okay. So I think inside the room, one of the suspended bodies kind of like turns, and you see like these sort of like glowy sort of eyes just faintly, and it starts to lower, and you hear this very, very creepy and almost Fred's voice. I have no strings to hold me down, to make me laugh, or to make, and then it just drops, and it drops to the ground on all fours and skitters up the wall behind you, over the meat wall, and out into the hallway with Shaggy and Scooby.
All right. Daphne, you're in this room with this little critter that is still advancing towards you, even though you're kind of frantically throwing these Scooby snacks at it, and it's completely ignoring these, kind of dodging around them as you're throwing these things at him. Scooby, Shaggy, you've just been basically separated as these things have kind of like grown up rapidly from floor to ceiling, separating you from Daphne. You could still see her on the other side of these things, trying to like peg this small little spider meat thing with Scooby snacks. But you realize that these tendrils and things are also starting to kind of reach in your direction, and this other thing drops to the ground and begins to give chase.
Daphne is super safe about date rape type stuff, so she pulls out her taser that she has in her purse, and she tases this meat fucker.
Meat fucker, that's right. That's actually his birth name.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay.
Charles P. Meat fucker.
Barnaby meat fucker. All right. So go ahead and roll an attack then, Sara.
It's 14.
Okay. You like, as this thing like leaps at you, you pull this taser out and kind of basically just plug the the prongs kind of like straight into the little like wad of this thing's body, and its legs kind of like make this kind of jittering motion, and the immediate area is kind of filled with the smell of like cooking meat, as this thing kind of makes this kind of noise and like falls to the ground and like shrivels up almost like a spider.
Okay, I'm gonna. Do I have to let the taser recharge, or can I keep using it?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's good to go.
I'm gonna keep using it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of, are jabbing it at these things to try to clear a path for you to move forward.
Right.
And
there's a wall.
you're kind of, making your way through this cargo space. Meanwhile, Velma, you are running from the kitchen with this canister in your hand, and you can see down this corridor Scooby and Shaggy running back towards you. Shaggy, in true fashion, carrying Scoob, and someone, maybe Fred, seems to be behind them, running to catch up.
Shaggy, what is it?
Run, Velma!
Run where?
Anywhere but here.
We don't want to go back there either.
Is there a door that is noticeably movable in comparison to the repeating background we've been running past?
Certainly, absolutely. One of the doors that you ran past earlier is now a slightly different shade of color. So you know that it could be the right way.
Quick, Velma, in here!
And seeing that Shaggy's arms are filled, she'll grab the door for him and run in first.
Excellent. All right, so give me a... I think this is going to be a sports.
For both of us, or just Velma?
Just Velma at this point. Scoob and Shaggy, you can roll escape for me.
Oh no.
I thought a 6.
Ooh, okay.
Sports really isn't.
I have a +2 to escape. I got a 6.
Ooh.
I have a +2 to escape. I got a 13.
Okay.
I think that's because knowing the door is about to close, that's when Scooby tries to be brave and sort of kind of leans too far over Shaggy's shoulder and just starts barking at this Fred thing, and kind of tumbles out of Shaggy's arms, and then whatever happens because of that.
Yeah, I think Velma has, kind of muscled this thing open and has like pulled it open, and Shaggy is the first one through. Just as Scoob decides to try to bark and he leans too far, falls out of Shaggy's arms.
Clang! Hit my head against the door.
Exactly, and as soon as Scoob hits his head against the door shuts. So that is my action with the horror. Well, I guess actually I get another one as well. And then Steve, you get one too.
So out in the hallway, and you can see like a long string of this meat tentacle that is winding back down the hallway. It seems like this thing's still connected to whatever the mass of this stuff is. But as it gets towards Scooby, because Scooby's on the outside, right? Or does Scooby make it inside yet?
Scooby and Velma both.
It stands up, and it is this like almost like a meat spare parts blood golem, like facsimile of Fred, and it starts picking off parts of itself and throwing them on the ground, and they look like bloody little Scooby snacks. And he just starts pelting Scooby with them repeatedly, just over and over. And these things, like they get little legs and they start to crawl all over Scooby's face and underneath his collar. And then you feel this tug and your collar comes off Scooby, and it skitters back across the floor right to the hand of this like blood golem. Rut-row, Ruby.
Scoob's jaw drops to the floor. I grab my ear and just go. Did you bring my jaw back up?
So there were 2 rolls that got failed that last round of checks, and so each failure essentially gets an action from Steve and myself. So those were just the first from each of us. I think.
Oh no!
I'm gonna have those Scooby snacks and that thing doing this to Scooby. I think I'm gonna have that inflict. I think I'm gonna say 2 wounds to Scooby. Inflict wounds to 1 or more characters. Okay, so I think some of these also might have gotten on Velma's like feet. So we're gonna do 2 wounds to Scooby and 1 wound to Velma. And then you also get 1 more, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the same vein, Velma there gets this right onto the lens of her glasses, and we see this close up, and you can see these like fanged teeth and like a circular sort of like sandworm, and they go and they start drilling into the lenses of your glasses, and you hear chink as your glasses are permanently broken.
I'm speechless. My glasses!
It was very appropriate when you yelled that your screen went blurry.
Okay. Excellent. So the situation is most certainly beginning to look more and more dire. Yeah, several of you have asked, and I've been terrible about handing out hope, like as the system calls for it. Yeah,
It's
all of you
hopeless anyway, so.
should have been. Yeah, all of you should have been earning as you're doing, the catchphrases and going off alone and all of those kinds of things. So for those of you that remain, we're just going to say everybody currently has two hope points. Okay, so let's check in with Shaggy. Shaggy, you just stepped through this door, and the door like slammed shut, and you can see that the wall on the other side of this door is covered with this meat vine kudzu type growth. And several of these tendrils kind of reach downwards and grab that wheel and turn it like half a turn, and then bang, break it off of the door. You're muted. Your beautiful performance.
Scoob, Velma, Daphne, and anybody out there? Anybody hear me?
The only response that you hear is the beating of your own heart in your ears.
Oh, I gotta get out of here, man. I'm gonna try and find a way outside.
Okay, sure. Let's see. So I think this is probably. I'll leave it up to you. It's either read or escape. Ooh, actually, let's do this as a cool roll. Trying to keep a level head.
God damn it!
Oh no, I didn't even think about that.
All right. So cool is my -1. We're good. I rolled in a 16, so that just
Oh, cool. Okay.
But
So-
I wanted to be dramatic.
Yeah, absolutely. So even with the sound of your own heartbeat kind of in your ears, you manage to kind of stumble on the right path to find a staircase that leads up to the top deck. So you're kind of making your way that direction now. You hear this the wind outside kind of whistling past an open door at the top of the staircase. Back inside, we wipe to find Daphne still inside this cargo bay area, where these vine trees with people kind of suspended from them are kind of all around the room, and these little meat spider things occasionally will kind of try to get closer, and as you kind of zap at them with this taser, they kind of back away.
Okay. Am I able to get to the area where Velma and Scooby are at?
So let's see what you can possibly find. So let's roll a cool check.
Ew. That's a 2.
Okay, and you're rolling 2d10, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're supposed to roll that twice and add it together, and then add whatever skill that you have. So for like whatever you have in cool, you're gonna add that to
I
whatever
know,
the two d10s that you're rolling.
I'm sorry. I
You're
was just
fine.
talking to no one.
It was one of the meat puppets.
Yeah. Okay. 2d10.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 28. Is that possible?
No, it shouldn't be.
No.
So read them both as singles digits. So you got a 2 and an 8.
Oh,
so it gives
there you go.
10.
Ah.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
so
you want
sorry.
to add them together. You're good.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay.
And then what do you have in
So
your
a
cool?
10, and then I have a +1 in my cool. So
Okay, so
11.
an 11 total. Excellent. Okay. So you're trying to kind of keep a level head, remember kind of the layout of the ship, where things kind of must be, where you saw, where you were supposed to meet, back up with the rest of the gang. And you're starting to try to figure that out, but you're getting a little turned around in all of these growths that are all over the room. And I don't think it helps that these things seem to be kind of shifting and changing their position, their size, their shape, just kind of all around you. And with that roll, I think I'm gonna do 3 wounds. Do you have any hope that you want to try to spend?
yes, I
prevent
have
any of
2
that?
hope points.
Okay. So let's see what you can do with 2 hope points. Hope for the better. Okay, so you could trade in. You had an 11 total. So you could
Yes.
trade in both of your hope points for hope for better to get a +2 on your roll. Or
Okay.
actually, I think that's the only possibility that you could spend them on right now that would help you.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
Okay, so you spend both of your hope points, and this tendril that has been kind of like reaching down from the ceiling towards you, that obviously Daphne has not seen yet. It kind of is getting very close to being able to kind of grab a hold of you, and at the last moment, you kind of just get a tingling sensation and turn around and see this thing just in time to be able to reach up and zap it with your taser, and it kind of retracts back up towards the ceiling.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna try to get to Velma and the rest of the gang.
All right. So you make your way out of this cargo hold. You finally find your way to a door, kind of shocking a number of these things as you manage to kind of reach this door, and you kind of pull this bulkhead wheel, open it, and disappear down into another corridor.
Okay.
I think you probably turn like a corner, and you see Scooby and Velma kind of in this hallway with Meat Fred.
Ugh. Okay. Are the particles are like attached to them?
Yeah, currently you can see Velma and Scoob both seem to have these little meatball-sized spider creatures that are kind of like latched onto different parts of them. Velma is screaming about her glasses, and you can see they're kind of on the ground, shattered at her feet.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out my powder, my makeup powder, and I'm gonna actually like crush it up and then just try to sprinkle it on the meat wad. Maybe it'll dry it up.
Yep. Even if the idea doesn't work, it's a solid foundation, honestly. But
Comments like that make me blush.
You all had it coming. Don't even pretend like you didn't.
I just never expected that many makeup puns.
All right.
He was born with it.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I must get all of you to stop. All right. So
No,
Daphne comes.
You go boo to everybody. The mask scare.
I'm glad I killed you first. No, I'm just kidding. So we see Daphne kind of running around the corner, kind of grinding up this makeup. As she's approaching, Velma, Scooby, what are the two of you doing with these things kind of latched onto you? These little like meat lampreys.
Fred's right there.
Yeah, meet Fred.
Velma is vulnerable. Daphne is just walking into the situation, and Meat Fred is throwing fake Scooby snacks everywhere. I'm attacking Meat Fred. I'm gonna try to take a big old bite out of him.
All right, so that would.
I'm a Great Dane. I'm going for the throat.
Sure, that's definitely an attack.
That is a 12 on the dice, and I have a +1, so that's a 13.
13. Okay. So yeah, you kind of leap forward and bite into the neck of Meat Fred, and as you do and kind of tear, just like you did before with the tentacle that had like grabbed a hold of Shaggy, you kind of like rip and parts of this meat being like kind of splatter up against the wall, and his head, the weight of like the meat that forms his head just kind of like careens backwards until it's literally just hanging onto his back, and all of these little like pieces of the meat are trying to like reach for one another. The splat on the wall is also now starting to like undulate and like try to like move of its own volition, kind of towards the floor.
Rouge your head, Red.
Velma, what are you doing?
Velma's just pretty much flailing around with her hands out because she can no longer see. Everything is a big old blur. So I think at this point I'm going to head away from any of the blurry shadow things that I might see. I'm backing away, trying to get away.
Okay, so that's going to be, yeah, right. All right, so that's going to be an escape roll.
Not just, am I at disadvantage? I don't know if there is.
I don't think there is such a thing. Yeah.
Oh, apparently not seeing is a good thing. I rolled 2 zeros on my dice, so that's
okay.
20. I have a
Yeah.
0 in escape.
So Velma kind of turns and just like shoots off down the corridor, stumbling blindly away from the sound of these like squishy meat creatures. Okay, Daphne, you are approaching with your make. Actually, let's hop over to Shaggy. Shaggy, you make your way up through the open doorway at the top of the staircase and out onto the deck. And again, the wind is just whipping past. It seems like the snow has kicked back up again, and you're in the middle of another snowstorm. It's difficult to see very far. It's difficult to hear much, and it's very cold up here. But you are in fresh air out of the belly of the ship. But you're also muted. It's probably just the wind.
Damn it. God. Do I see like an emergency kit with like flares or something?
Do you have any hope that you'd like to spend for that?
Yeah, I got some hope.
Okay, cool. It's not necessarily anything that's on the list that I can find a correlation with, but
I mean, could I use it for like lucky, since that would turn a roll that's not a 13 into a 13? So just kind of like guarantee that I find this.
sure, yeah, absolutely. You have 3 to spend, right?
That's all I got.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that'll wipe out your hope for now. But yeah, lucky you
For now,
you're able to.
Oh, Jeremy, I never had any.
That's true. I mean, you knew that coming in. All right, so yeah, you managed to find this kit, and I'll let you describe kind of what it is, what's in it. It's up to you.
Like kind of strapped up next to the life preserver is this, box that can detach from the wall. I detach it, set it on the ground. Within is like a reflective vest, maybe some like a first aid kit of some kind. But like there's also like 2 or 3 flares. I'm hoping like a flare gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just gonna shoot I'm trying to shoot a flare to alert somebody of something. Because I don't really know if I can get off this boat.
Okay. So Shaggy kind of, takes this thing, loads the big kind of like shell into the back of this flare gun, points it up in the air, and you hear this poof, and we just see this kind of like fluorescent magenta like light kind of arc up into the snowy sky, and before it just goes and kind of like illuminates all of the frozen lake with this ship kind of sat right in the middle of it all. It kind of casts these super long shadows because this light is so intense and bright. And Shaggy, as you do so, you realize that where you didn't see it before whenever you were on deck, now under this like magenta light, you can see on the edges of the ship and kind of anywhere where there's one of these large opening like cargo set of doors on the deck, these meat tendrils are growing out and onto the ship like kudzu, like a crawling vine.
Zoinks!
All right. Daphne, you have ground up your makeup and have now like closed up behind Meat Fred. And just about the time that you do so is when Scooby has launched himself forward and bitten the neck. Now, as you're approaching Meat Fred, you're now looking at his face upside down because his head is like hanging off of the top of his body with the back of his head kind of on his back.
Okay. Does Velma still have these things on her person?
Velma took off.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it on Scooby?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Can I put the powder on the little meat things that are on Scooby?
Sure,
Like,
absolutely.
Sprinkle it on them?
Sounds perfectly possible. Let's see. I think this is still an attack, honestly.
Okay. Okay. 12.
Okay. So you try to do this, and you're sprinkling this makeup powder on these creatures, and they're kind of pulling away, not really liking it very much. But you manage to cause one of them to try to get away from it, and it is going to essentially like try to crawl into Scoob's mouth. So
Okay.
Scoob, I am going to have that roll manifest as, let's see,
Roll to vomit.
No, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna say that's 3 wounds coming at you.
What? What? Okay. That's all right.
You have anything you want to try to use to negate those?
I got
This
2
thing's-
hope.
Okay. Do you want to try to cash those in to get a +2 on Daphne's roll? Or +1? +1 would make it into a 13, which would pass, and that only costs 1 hope. Oh, wait. Better together. Pay 2 to get a +1 on another character's roll if you're with them at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll do the better together then.
Okay, cool. All right, so that'll cost you 2 hope points, but that will turn Daphne's 12 into a 13, which means instead of it trying to crawl down your throat, essentially you're able to just do that dog shake of your head, and it just goes and flies off and against the wall. and you watch as that thing that's kind of undulating down the wall, the one that was Fred's throat just a moment ago, and it kind of like meet one another and then just like congeal back together again. And that lump has basically reached where the floor and the wall meet one another, and then is now kind of like doing that again, that inchworm thing towards Meat Fred's legs.
Scooba's face is just pure white, and you just see his eyes just bling, bling.
I give him a few Scooby snacks because he earned it.
I will gladly do the dog thing and snatch him out of the air.
Perfect. Okay, I think that actually qualifies as engaging in vices. So, I think you earn a hope point. We see Scooby in rehab in the future at some point.
If I'm in rehab, Shaggy's with me.
He's your sponsor. All right. So let's see. Okay, Velma. We cut back to you. You're blindly making your way through these darkened corridors, trying to find your way somewhere else, anywhere else. You find a door that does not have one of these wheels on it. It's more of just like a traditional latch, and you kind of pull it and open it up, and you're, squint. We see everything from her point of view, obviously, and it's all, very much out of focus, and just all these colors and shapes. You think maybe you found your way to the captain's quarters. You find what looks like to be a bed off to one side. You find what looks like a table. You find a computer, like a laptop that is sitting there with the screen open. It's dark currently, but it looks like it's just kind of in sleep mode at the moment.
I'm going to look, well, wrong word. I'm going to feel around, maybe on the table, on the bedside table, if I can find where that is. And I'm looking to see that maybe this captain needed glasses of some sort. Maybe he was getting old. Something to help me see.
Okay. Do you have any hope to spend?
Yes, I have 3 at this point.
Okay. So if you'd like, you can cash those in and make it a 13 with lucky. Or you can try to roll to see if you can find something that might work.
I'd like to, am I doing read? Because I'll roll if that's what.
I would say so, yes.
Okay, I'll try the roll. Oh, we are feeling lucky. That's a 16 plus 2 is an 18.
All right. So you find these like small round like reading glasses, and you put them on, and it's definitely not Velma's prescription, but you can see much better than you could without anything.
Perfect. At that point, I would go back to the laptop and try to turn it on and see maybe the last thing that he was writing.
Okay. You kind of go back to it, and you wake it back up again, bring it out of sleep mode. And what you see is it's like a video, and it looks like something that was either loaded up onto this laptop or might have been maybe like on a USB key or something that's plugged into it. And the video is in Russian, so Velma understands what it says, but it's more about what it shows that might be a little troublesome for Velma. You see what looks like a city, a bridge of some kind, and you see this meat vine material growing everywhere, up the sides of the skyscrapers, across the streets, as these individuals in hazmat suits make their way through, kind of trying to spray all of this stuff. And the broadcast is talking about this major city in Russia that has been overgrown with this material, this vine kudzu flesh, and it has devastated large parts of Russia, apparently. And how this is a top secret memo, and it should never, ever get out of Russia.
Jinkies! They brought it with them. Yeah, dang. Is there any way, well, we're in the middle of what, Ohio, you said? Is
Yes.
there any way we can connect to some sort of Wi-Fi signal?
So, I've never been to Ohio, nor have I been out on Lake Erie. I don't know, but I kind of doubt that the Wi-Fi signal reaches that far out into the water. So,
I've been to Ohio. Just like everything else there, their Wi-Fi sucks. I'm just
That's
kidding.
fair.
Sorry if you're from Ohio.
I'm going to try, because I think that she would try to get it out,
Absolutely.
to post it somewhere.
Okay. So this, I think, is going to be... Let's call this a cool.
Okay. That will be a 16.
Excellent. Okay. So it doesn't... There is no, like, actual Wi-Fi signal, but you realize that not far away is like a device that basically, if you activate it, it operates as a hotspot. It would be like a cell phone, except that it doesn't make phone calls, essentially. It can just receive, 4G or whatever is in the area and turn it into like a signal to be able to have the laptop use it. So, you managed to get that all hooked up, and you're loading this up to where, like the Mystery Inc. like website or their YouTube channel.
Yes, YouTube, our YouTube channel. We definitely have a YouTube channel, so totally
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have the camera on, and I'm going to do the little intro first about what we found, and then I'm going to play
Excellent. Mystery.inc. Exactly. Okay, so that's let's see who we haven't checked in with. Shaggy. Shaggy, you're still on the deck. And you've kind of noticed this growth on a large portion of the ship. And looking around, you realize that this stuff it definitely looks like it is taking over this ship.
Can I get to like the helm of the ship from up here?
Yeah, I think so. It's, you can see kind of the tower towards the back of the ship that kind of rises up higher than anything else. And you can see, like the staircase that kind of goes around the outside of it. So you can absolutely start making your way in that direction.
That's where I would like to go. From up here, is there like an intercom or a loudspeaker system?
So yeah, I think there's probably some kind of like a PA that goes throughout the ship, and and there's probably, like another switch that you could throw that would basically just project out onto the deck over some kind of loudspeaker if you'd like. Either one.
Over the PA, you would hear, I don't know who's left, but it's taken over the whole ship. We're stuck out here. And from here, I'm saving one of these flares. I'm gonna try and like revisit that flammable gas container situation, and see if I can find anything like that up here.
Okay. So for one that you saw a canister that Velma had brought back from the kitchen. So there's at least one in the hallway there. You come down from the captain's quarters and begin making your way basically back into the bowels of the ship. No pun intended. To try to find more of these gas canisters, or perhaps even like fuel reserves of some kind here on board. Okay. We shoot back over to Scooby and Daphne. I think Meet Fred is reconvening, joining back together. The tendrils that had been ripped out of his neck have stopped trying to like grab a hold of one another, and have instead like curled backwards, and have the head of Fred had like fallen backwards, and now it's basically just rotated and been pushed forward into his torso. So now, basically in the chest stomach area, you see Fred's face, but it's upside down, just kind of barely protruding out of his stomach area. So I know that Sara took a moment, but Scoob, what are you doing?
So Fred's got a backwards head, flipped around, all kinds of jacked up. There's little pieces of Fred and meat stuff everywhere. And Fred is kind of between Daphne and I. I'm going to distract Meet Fred in classic Scooby-Doo fashion, so that Daphne can get away, as out of nowhere, Scoob is wearing a white chef's uniform and a white chef's hat, and has a hibachi grill in front of him, and is taking spatulas and pieces of this Meet Fred stuff and starting to do the whole pretending to be a hibachi chef, and even doing the thing like flipping the spatulas around and taking probably a piece of Fred's own self, and doing the flip it up into Fred's backwards head mouth, while looking at Daphne like, "Get out of here!"
I am standing in awe, almost a little bit hungry at watching this hibachi show, but I'm gonna taser Meet Fred's face. I'm just gonna tase him and say, "I am so sorry, Fred."
Excellent.
You need to kind of roll for me to be a hibachi chef here.
So I'm trying to figure out what that's going to work as. Scoob, I mean, a cool sounds like it probably fits the best. And then from Daphne, another attack roll, if you would, please.
Okay.
Oh, I only have one hope, don't I? Because I cashed in 2, but I gained 1. I got An 11. Whoa, no.
Okay.
I have -1 to cool. I have a 10.
Ooh, okay. Daphne, what'd you get?
A 9.
9. Okay. So both of you are kind of using this kind of tag team maneuver. And Scoob, you're pulling this hibachi cook chef thing, and you kind of flip the piece up. And as you flip the cooked piece up kind of towards Fred, Daphne, you're coming in with this taser behind Fred. And at the last moment, Fred's face goes from facing Scooby, kind of sticking upside down out of his abdomen, to all of a sudden protruding from his back upside down, looking right at you. And he goes, "I don't think so." And he kind of moves out of the way, almost kind of like just the whole form of him just kind of goes, kind of like compressing down towards the floor. And that piece that Scoob just flicked towards him is going to hit you instead, Daphne. And this barbecued, seared piece of what once was meat Fred, like, hits against you, and then you just watch as it elongates and sprouts
Fred,
like
meat got me in the
dozens.
face.
Well, you said it, not me. And it then sprouts dozens of legs and begins to crawl up your body like a centipede.
I'm gonna try to fight it off with my hands, I guess.
Just to be clear, you're gonna try and beat off Fred's meat.
Yes. Both hands.
See, it's not just me. It's my whole fucking family. I told you. I come by it honestly. All right. So, I mean, I guess another attack roll. Wait. Okay, so I took an action for one of those failed rolls. So I need to take a second, and Steve, you still need to take 2 as well. Okay, so what to do? All right, I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna inflict a wound, 2 wounds to Daphne, and 1 wound to Scoob.
Please tell me it's because I failed in the hibachi. While I was dicing up all this meat, I didn't realize that my tail had gotten onto the hibachi too. And I'm just doing the thing where you chopping stuff up and just chop, and just dice up the end of my tail.
Yeah, 100%. And you watch, like, just as you kind of do that and then look down and realize that that was part of your tail, one of these little meat pieces, like, just like absorbs it into itself. All right, so that's 2 more wounds.
Jeremy.
Ooh,
yeah, that.
Okay. So this centipede bit of cooked Fred kind of crawls up and onto Daphne's face as she's kind of like floundering backwards, trying to get this thing away. She stumbles backwards and trips and falls down a staircase. And we hear, the kind of bang, kong, boom of her hitting these metal stairs on the way down. And then at the bottom, all we hear is so Daphne is now also part of the horror.
Welcome to the meat side.
All right. However, that was just the 2 actions that I was going to take. So, Steve,
Oh no, I'm alone with Fred.
You still have 2 actions that you can take.
All right. So I know the first one. So there's the quick shot of Shaggy up on the deck, right? And this light from the flare is still falling, and it's illuminating this blowing snow. And we see it in these shots of crimson and purple. And then rather than the snow falling in the flare, we start to hear splick, 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 as the snow and this flare light has turned into these chunks of this meat, like a spore burst. And it's just raining down on top of Shaggy. Delicious.
All right, so that's 1.
Yeah.
What do you got as your second one?
Do I take like any?
I don't know what
I'm gonna leave
what
the
action was that,
damaging
Steve?
to. I'm gonna leave. That's just making the world scary. I'm gonna leave the damaging to.
Okay.
Jeremy.
Yep. Perfect. I'll be the bad guy. That's fine.
However, I do think what happens is that we have like the mush down version of Fred, and so it continues to mush, and then we hear this sort of like, and then up behind Shaggy, we see this freshly fallen meat congeal into a Fred figure. And it's got, if it was a fleshy Fred, gross, super gross. This would be the makings of a trap. And it starts to put together this trap behind Shaggy.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it's even like, mostly Fred, but then like, one leg and arm very much looks like Daphne.
Right. Yeah. And I think like out of all the parts that are covered in gore, like Fred's face, although pallid, is just Fred's face. Like it's in the belly now, but just Fred's face.
Okay. Yeah, so Shaggy, what are you gonna do?
I want to try and run for my life.
Excellent. So that sounds like an escape roll.
I have a good escape, but not good enough. I rolled a 9 for a total of 11.
Okay. All right. So that means that myself, Steve, and Sara, each one of us gets to choose one of the actions for the horror from the first 2 lists on the back sheet. Okay. So I think as you are trying to escape Shaggy, the creature is going to kind of open in the middle. This bizarre, not quite anatomically correct kind of split down the middle occurs, and this meat Fred / Daphne kind of just like peels open, and its ribs kind of like stick upwards like branches or teeth almost. Parts kind of are floating in the wind that's blowing so hard here on the deck. And this being kind of lumbers towards you.
Like, oh man, not cool, dude.
Steve, Sarah?
Okay, I'm going to take one of my arms and turn it into a sandwich, and like
Perfect.
bring it really close to Shaggy, like right in front of his face.
No, I don't want that one. Please don't.
And as he tries to avoid my grasp, my other arm is gonna wrap around his waist.
Okay, excellent.
Do I roll
Steve?
for damage or you?
Oh, are you gonna do it as a wound?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, you can choose. Basically, yeah, you can choose to do three wound points.
Okay.
All right, Shaggy, do you have a way of trying to counteract those, or
No, that'll do it.
nope? Okay, Shaggy is going to take 3 additional wounds. Shaggy is at he's at 2, so okay. This creature that is like split in half and like opened up has like proffered this like meatball sub towards Shaggy. I'm never eating at Subway again now. And wraps around you and kind of like brings you forward, and your face just kind of like smashes into this sandwich. But as you near it, the sandwich itself like opens up, and like all of the trimmings and the fixings on this sandwich form like tendrils and tongues and teeth, and we watch as Shaggy is fed to this sandwich.
Brutal.
Once again, we hear that all right. Baron, you're now part of the meat club. Welcome. Just like Mom used to make.
I don't want to hear that ever again in my life.
It's becoming a sausage party in here.
Just know it was in fact a foot long.
Subway, I'm awaiting my sponsorship. Get on it.
It's just a commercial of the noise you're making into your microphone.
The funny thing is, it's still not as disturbing as Jared.
At least these are all adults.
Ooh. Okay, we're going to very quickly move away from that.
So, I think with the assimilation of Shaggy, again, we're gonna fade to that, the shrinking of this monster into a puddle of goop, and we see like these sort of like intestine-looking things now with different. It's very obvious, like the white shirt of Fred, the purple of Daphne, sort of being drugged behind it. It looks like a very vibrantly colored venomous snake as these intestines snake back down the stairs and wind themselves back right to the feet of Velma.
Absolutely, where Velma's kind of still sitting at this laptop, kind of frantically working to get this video out, this information uploaded. Velma, you notice that something has grabbed a hold of your ankles. What would you like to do?
Oh, turning back into the camera, after I've attached that video. This is Velma of Mystery Inc. Don't think we're going to make it off the ship, but everybody needs to know this is out here. It's going to be the end of us. And oh my God, it's getting me. It's here too. And she's going to scream, Jinkies, this is the last thing you're going to hear from me. And I'm going to try to fight for my life on camera.
Okay. So that sounds like escape or attack.
Oh, I'm going to try attack because it's grabbing me at this point.
Absolutely.
11.
Okay.
I'm going to use 2 hope to make that a 13.
Ooh, okay.
Plus 2 on this roll.
Yep. So that will get you out of the situation. So you can describe basically how you beat this thing back enough to get away.
I don't think she's going to get away. Actually, she's just beating. Oh, I don't know what is it. Beating it off. She is. She's beating it. But the camera is there. She wants like the audience to see. And the whole time she's like, "This is not a hoax. This is real. This is a real. If you're out there, blow this ship up." And that's, I think, she's going to continue to try and attack it.
Okay. Elsewhere, as Velma fights for her life on camera, for all of the people to see, we wipe back to find Scoob, who has just seen Daphne absorbed into Meat Fred. Scoob, what are you doing?
It's time to get the heck out of here and find Velma. So it's time for a classic. Time for a classic running away.
You pull that up.
That was great.
I'm going to use my escape.
Incredible. Okay. Yep.
Okay. That's a 12 on the dice, and I have a +2 to escape, so that's a 14.
Excellent. So you managed to out of that corridor, take off running, and yeah, you're making your way through these corridors, and you're very quickly realizing that at all of the corners and all of the little doorways and vents, you're starting to see these little tendrils of creeping red vine that are starting to kind of take everything over.
I feel like this is the point. If ever there was a point, this is the moment. Scooby is running through all of these different doors. The camera's fixed on the hallway, and Scooby runs through a door. Meat comes running through a door. Scooby runs through another door. Meat comes through. Then Scooby and the Meat run past each other. This is the classic multi-door switch around. And sometimes the Meat is Fred, and sometimes it's Daphne. Yeah, this is the moment where that would happen.
Perfect.
We have the moment
Absolutely.
where like Scooby stopped like a statue, and like the monster's out there like scratching his head, trying to figure out which way it went.
At one point, there's actually a meat Scooby that's being chased by like another meat creature.
Right. They just pull back together.
Excellent. Okay. So I guess back to Velma. Velma, you're still seated at this laptop. The video seems like it has, been uploading. It is connecting, and you're basically live and broadcasting to the Mystery Inc. YouTube channel. The views are just like starting to just like ratchet up as you're trying to keep this thing at bay. But the longer you're staying here, you realize that the amount of mass that this creature has is continuing to grow. And at one point, this creature, a lump kind of appears on the top of it, and you can see this lump start to kind of make the same divide that Shaggy saw. It kind of opens up, but instead of splitting open and being like these open ribs, it splits kind of in two, and one face is Daphne and the other is Fred, and they're kind of partially connected, partially melted together, and they are trying to come after you with their mouths agape.
This is the most disturbing sight I've seen. I want to take a quick look, make sure that video has completely uploaded or not.
Okay. So
Buying my time.
I think this will be a cool.
Okay. Oh, 15.
Yep, it absolutely has.
Okay. So at that point, noticing that the it has finally uploaded, it's all good. This is the time where I'm going to look around, dive out a window potentially from this captain's quarters. It's now time to go.
All right, so let's get an escape roll.
This is tiny little portal. That's right.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, let's make that escape roll, please.
Yeah, the portal is a little bit too tiny. That is a 5.
Okay, so that means myself, Steve, Sara, and Baron are all going to get to take an action. Let's see. So we see that video is connected, is fully loaded up, and we just see like the meat tendrils like grow up and over the camera, just kind of like completely blotting it out as it kind of wraps around this laptop and just like crushes it, continuing to reach towards you. And parts of this creature begin to basically just like unfold the way like an insect arm would basically just like double in length, like a praying mantis arm or something, just kind of like opens in all of these different directions. And as it does so, it latches onto the wall, almost the way that those things you would get like at an arcade. You would like throw it against the wall and it would like spat and just like stay there and kind of slowly move. Yeah, like every single one of these things just kind of whoosh, whoosh, and it's just kind of like using that to now lift itself up and behind Velma as she's like struggling to get through this porthole. The three of you.
I'm going to reach out with a tendril and take the laptop and try to smash it over Velma's head or body.
Okay. So yeah, this, meaty appendage with this laptop kind of held in the end is going to kind of like raise up from this creature as it's like looming upwards of Velma, and is going to bring this laptop down. So is that you choosing to do the 3-point wound?
I guess. Yeah.
All right. Velma, do you have anything that can offset that?
No, not anymore.
Okay. All right. So Velma gets knocked unconscious by the laptop. Baron or Steve, do you either one of you want to describe the annex that takes place?
You don't want to describe how we assimilate her? Go ahead, Baron.
I would like the dog.
Oh, okay. So I think this unconscious Velma is laying partially out through this portcullis, right? Or this porthole. Portcullis. Well, it's a very strange ship. But this porthole. And I think you see like the head and the stomach spin around, and it's mostly like Daphne at this point. And she's like, "Here, let me help." And just pushes her through this tiny porthole. And so it's like, I mean, skin coming off and just sort of out the window onto the other side. And then I imagine, since it's got Daphne's face, it holds Velma's skin up like you would a dress when you're trying it on. And then we cut over to whatever Barry's about to do to this dog.
That is so fucked. I love it though. Oh my god. It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. We see like basically the other part, the non-skin part of Velma, like out the porthole on the other side. The body kind of like hits on the deck of the ship and rolls once or twice and just stays there kind of full frame for just like 2 beats, and then we just see this like mound of meat basically just like slink up onto her and just kind of like absorb into it. Scoob, the last one standing.
Baron gets to break the dog, right?
Baron still has a move.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Baron, what you got?
I rolled. We're supposed to do
Okay,
that?
sure. Yeah, randomly. You can. Yeah.
No. Well, I did.
Sure.
As Scooby is running, this meat is kind of like congealing in this hallway behind him. It's not even like, I guess it's breaking through like the seams, like screws that are holding up paneling are kind of like shooting out from the pressure as like it's kind of forcing its way through. Light fixtures are like filling up, and then like the glass breaks and like a large quantity of whatever visceral details you need. But as these kind of light fixtures are breaking, they're catching up to Scooby and they're getting ahead. And as they keep going, the glass is all over the ground as you're running, and you really damage your feet. You're permanently debilitated.
Not my paws.
I'm after the man who shot my paw. So you're just like, it's just tearing the flesh. Oh no, it's not tearing the flesh. As your pads are like running on this meat, it's absorbing parts of you, like as you're making contact with it. And so like the pads of your paws are just like raw, fresh meat by the time that you're like, getting out of this. And so every step that you take is this horrifyingly agonizing pain, as basically the virgin skin is making contact with this stuff. All right, what are you doing, Scoob?
The only thing I can do at this point is try to run up to the deck and try to jump off this ship.
Okay.
So is that another escape?
Escape or sports? I'll leave it up to you.
Oh, I thought that was an 8. It is not. because that would have made this a 15. It is a 10, but my escape is +2, which makes it a 12. However,
Which is
I have one hope,
okay.
so I can make it a 13. As I run up to the deck and just run to the front of the ship off the bow and just leap, and there's a moment with the moon silhouetted behind, and I just picture all of these tendrils of meat. Some of them are like trailing from my paws as I leap overboard to whatever waits below.
It's like the worst ET scene.
Yeah, absolutely. These things are trying to grab a hold of you as you leap free. You kind of land roughly on, the icy, snow down below, and kind of like tuck and roll. And I imagine probably Scoob is back up on his feet as fast as he can. And we just see this shot from the ship of Scoob just running off towards the shore into the distance, as we just see these things just continue to like writhe and grow all over this ship, and we hear the ship still kind of groaning in the freezing cold of this icy lake, and from deep within we still hear this and that's, I think, where we're going to end it. Please.
So Scoob's running. The moonlight catches a glint of the medallion that hangs off of Scooby's collar that wasn't there earlier. And we see this slight shadow tuck itself back underneath the collar.
I love it.
Perfect. Yeah, so everybody,
Scooby's the only survivor.
That's yeah.
I had my meat background ready to go.
Oh my god. Absolutely perfect. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna pass things over to the players so that they can say anything that they'd like to say in parting. Once again, tell you where you might be able to find them on the internet if they wish to do so, what they might have going on, etc., and we're gonna call it a night. So we'll start in reverse order, and Sara, you're up first.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks for letting me join the group. I had a blast. So hopefully this won't be my last online game. So
absolutely.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
glad to have you anytime. Thank you very much for showing an interest in playing, and for coming along and playing Daphne to a T. I appreciate it. Okay. Next up we have Steve.
Well, that was a lot of fun. So thanks for having me, Jeremy, and everybody else. It's always a blast to. Well, I mean, I get to play with two of these knuckleheads all the time, but I really enjoy playing with Jake, and we don't get to do it super often, so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, Sara, it was a blast having you. Like, you wouldn't really be able to tell this wasn't your first time, like, on here doing this. So that's awesome. But yeah, lots of fun.
Always a pleasure, Steve. Thank you very much for coming on again and playing a fantastic Fred until he died, that is. So, and then playing a fantastic monster after, being able to even, I'm like, I set up the scenario and like what this monster was, and you were still giving descriptions that creeped me the fuck out. So that was fantastic. All right, next we have Kaeryn.
Oh, I had a total scream playing this game. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I want to thank all of you. It was great playing with you, Sara. This was amazing. Hopefully we get to do it again. And thank you everyone for watching, and happy Halloween. I hope this frightened you as much as it did us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy Halloween. And for your joke, 50 points from Gryffindor. So yeah, absolutely. This was a blast. Thank you once again, Kaeryn. It's always a pleasure to have you on as well. And yeah, my first choice for Velma without a doubt. And I'm so glad that you came on and you hit all of you just did such a great job hitting all the little character notes that we know and love about these very iconic characters. So thank you. Speaking of iconic characters, Baron.
Oh man, there was a part. It was probably like an hour and 20 in where you were describing something, and I looked at like our pictures at the top, and everyone looked like either disgusted, upset, or horrified, and I was like, oh hell yeah. So I had a lot of fun. I had to take the day off for this, and it was totally worth it. So I'm happy to be here, and can't wait for the next one.
Fantastic. I appreciate you doing that, Baron. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure again to have you on as well. I love that Shaggy is so vastly different of a character from Tord, and getting to see you play those two kind of extremes, that was a lot of fun. Again, like when I started thinking about this game and I thought of who would play the roles, there was only ever one Shaggy. You're always going to be my Shaggy, Baron, so thank you. I think that should be a Valentine's.
I feel like that is applicable to a lot of people in my life. I'll take
fair.
it. I'm fine with it.
Absolutely. You're my Scooby snack. All right. Speaking of Scoob, last but certainly not least, Jake.
I think I spent most of the game like this. One of the creepiest things for me though was the last thing Baron said, which was, "Leave the dog for me," or "I want the dog," or whatever it was. It was just that cold way that he said that, and I'm just like, oh no. Sara, it was amazing getting to play with you. I can't believe this is your first time ever playing online. But I hope to see you in more online games. Hope we get to play together again. Steve, you're absolutely right. I think this is our second or third time we've played together. So we need to make that happen more often. And Kaeryn and Baron, of course, a blast to play with you again. Baron, we don't play together nearly often enough, but and Jeremy, listen, when Jeremy messages you and says, "Hey, do you want to play Scooby?" The answer is always yes. I never would have thought myself to play a Scooby, but I am so glad I said yes. This was just so much fun. If you want more Halloween, if you don't mind if I plug something, Jeremy, tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on October 30th, over on twitch.tv/MiniTerrainDomain, Kaeryn will be over there with me along with M, Alex, and Carrie. I am running a Mothership RPG Halloween horror one-shot called Exsanguius. Little sci-fi horror going on over there. Other than that, that's where you can catch us on MiniTerrainDomain on Mondays and Thursdays for run a couple of D&D campaigns. Thursday nights, Jeremy plays Talmud, not Thorgarn. He plays Talmud, the dwarf. And we've been playing that for over 3 years, pushing 3.5 years now. And we are coming up on our season 5 finale of that one. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, so awesome to get to play in this. What a wonderful way to spend a Friday night.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very, very, very much. Playing the Talmud is always just such a blast. I cannot wait to finish the season out for Dawnbringers and kill some dragons. Everybody, this has been such a great time. I had this concept, and it was kind of one of those things where like, I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe if I can find the right people who will get it and latch onto the idea. Maybe it'll work. And I'm so glad that I went through with it and that all of you agreed to come on and play. This has been tremendous. So thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Also, a massive thank you to anybody who may have watched, whether you tuned in live with us tonight or you might be watching at some point in the future. It is deeply appreciated. If you liked this game, hit the like button. If you like the kind of content that I produce here on the channel, subscribe if you would. And if you really want to help out and throw me a Scooby snack, then go out and spread the word. Tell your friends, send them links to this game or any other game or help action that you might find on the channel that you enjoy. So I think that's about it from me. So happy Halloween. Be safe. Have a great time. Be excellent to one another. Why not? And until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach. Scooby-Doo!